Sponsored by ginandtonically.com for all your gin and tonically needs.
Hello gin lovers, welcome back. I'm Bobby Freeman, and today, my friends, this one is for all my hardcore gin drinkers out there, because we're going to be looking at how to drink neat gin. Okay, now this, my regular subscribers and viewers will know I don't usually drink neat gin. However, today I'm feeling particularly badass. Told you. But first of all, thank you very much to my sponsors of this video, who is ginandtonically.com. Head over to their website and they do pretty much similar stuff to me, really. Gin reviews, gin giveaways, and all sort of gin related things. So I think you'll like them very, very much. Also, I'd like to say thank you very much to another one of my subscribers who has very, very kindly joined the ranks of my Patreon. So good old John Ogren, thank you very much indeed. And I say to you, John, as I say to all my Patrons, you are a gentleman, sir, and I salute you. Right, my friends, let's get stuck right into it, shall we? So what I've tried to do here is sort of select a little gathering of gins that are going to be available throughout the globe. Very popular sort of household gins, so it's going to be relevant to all my subscribers around the world. So my friends, let's start off with this little chap here, shall we? Or not so little, as the case may be. For this, my friends, is Brooklyn Gin. And it's one of the biggest and most beautiful bottles I think I've ever featured on the show. And I reviewed this a few months back, and this, I really liked it because it had big, heavy, bold flavours. And that's what I like to do if I'm going to be drinking gin neat. Personally, I mean, you might disagree, lots of people will disagree with me, but personally, I like to have if I'm going to have it neat, I like to have these big sort of heavy flavours. I don't really enjoy what I call your classic sort of London dries, like your Beefeaters and your Sipsmiths. I love them, obviously, as you know, we wouldn't want to be without them, but personally, I like to have the ones with the bigger, bolder flavours. Now then, I'm going to reach for a glass over here. This, I'm going to say something now that a lot of you're going to think I'm completely crazy, right? Okay, but get this. You'll see there is a little tiny something already in this glass. And you know what that is? It's water. What? Yep, I know. You're about to chuck your laptop or phone out of the window in protest of what I just said, I know. But hold on to it a second. Shut the window, sit back down, because there is reason in my madness. Hang on, method. There's method in my madness. That's what I meant to say. It's very professional, isn't it? Now, I was speaking to a cocktail bar consultant once, right? So this lady knew exactly what she was talking about. I did a gin tasting with her, and she put a teeny tiny spot of water in there. I'm like, what are you doing? And she says, that's what a lot of the industry people will do, is these sort of master distillers and the tasters. They'll put a tiny bit of water in there, and they say that releases the flavours. So I'm going to be doing that today. As I say, you might think I'm an absolute heathen for doing that, but just trust me on this one. Give that a go. Try it out when you try and neat gin. So here we go. This is Brooklyn Gin. So we've got that amount of water, so I'm going to put about that much gin to give you an idea of the ratio. It's about sort of 10% water, probably even less than that, I would say. Just a tiny spot. So let me have a little blast and remind myself of this one. Yeah, it's, as you can tell, I don't drink neat gin very often, but I tell you what, oh man alive, it's just laden with flavours, this one. I really, really like it. This is basically due to it's really heavy on the juniper, because you've got hand-cracked juniper in this gin, and it's got sort of fresh citrus in there as well. Rather than the dried orange peel, they use the fresh stuff, which makes it sort of really makes those flavours sort of come to life. It's just sort of loaded sort of flavours as well. It's really sort of, I think I described it as pregnant, sort of lumbering and heavy, and it just lends itself extremely well to neat gin. So that is my first one on my list. Give that one a go. Let me know what you think. Right, next on the list is, of course, the good old Aviation, which I have featured on this channel many times before. In fact, this was one of the first ones that was suggested to me to try it neat by one of my subscribers, because I was drinking it with tonic, and he was like, you're crazy, you shouldn't be doing that. This one should be drunk neat. So I thought I'd try it. In fact, it was a bit of embarrassment for me, because I don't drink neat gin very often. I tried it neat. I did a special video trying this one neat, and it was a hot day, so I thought, oh, I'll pop a couple of ice cubes in there, and of course that made it on the rocks, and I was subject to a lot of ridicule. But you know, we all make mistakes, especially me. So let's get him in the glass, shall we? Remind myself, again, tiny bit of water in there, and get the gin in. Beautiful. So then, let's have a quick blast on this. Do you know what? I reckon I could pick Aviation out of a blind test of 100 gins, because it really does stand alone. And I like it because it is very, very unique. It's a bit less on the juniper, and obviously it has to have some juniper, otherwise it wouldn't be gin anymore. But it kind of makes it really unique. It sort of tones down the juniper and the other flavours sort of come to the fore. So you've got like, you can taste those sort of citrus notes in there and kind of that sort of spice. There's a certain spiciness to it, and there's like sort of cardamom in there as well. And they all sort of come to the fore in a very, very different way. Whoops, we knocked it over then. In a very different way than you will have had gins before. And it's just, and of course owned by the very famous Hollywood actor Ryan Reynolds, who very kindly included me in one of his tweets, which linked everyone, his 14 million followers to all of my videos. That gave me a very nice boost. So cheers, Ryan, you're the best. If you want to do it again, I will be extremely grateful. So next up, look at this lovely, beautiful little fellow. It's always a nice addition to a gin shelf. Oh God. Always a very welcome addition to the gin shelf, because it looks just so beautiful and gorgeous. I mean, a little bit like Bombay Sapphire, but tasting way, way better. And again, I was talking about big, bold flavours, and they don't come much bigger and bolder, my friends, cork test, than this one, because it is jam-packed with flavours. I should say the name of it as well. It is, of course, Drumshanbo Gunpowder Irish Gin. I think this is available in most places, and this little fellow, I was going to drink it out of the bottle then for some strange reason. My mum would be very displeased. This little fellow is, as I say, huge, huge, huge flavours in you. You've got grapefruit, lemons and limes and cardamom, and the most important ingredient, among all the other ingredients as well, the sort of classic ingredients for gin, is gunpowder tea. And that's what sets this one aside from most other gins, that sort of gunpowder tea, which is sort of green tea leaves, which is apparently rolled up into little shapes, which looks a little bit like gunpowder. I don't know why. But let's get a bit in the glass to remind me how it tasted, because I haven't actually drunk this one for a while, but I remember thinking it was real wham bam, literally lives up to its name. It's like a fireworks factory. Here we go. I have to start covering the microphone when I do that, because I'm blowing people's ears out. The flavours in this are quite extraordinary, and I really like that sort of that essence that the tea brings to it. It's a very richness to it. Maybe it's because I'm British and we're known for drinking tea. Ironically, I don't drink much tea. Interesting fact for you. But it really does kind of explode in the mouth. I mean, you wouldn't want to, if you had a whole mouthful of it, it'd be quite something, quite a sensation. I like to, if I'm drinking neat, because I'm not particularly hardcore, and I don't do it very often, I like to just sip it. But imagine if you took a mouthful of this really would blow your head off. It's awesome stuff, and that is definitely one to be drinking neat, in my opinion. And that, my friends, brings us to my old friend, Mr. Beefeater 24. What an extraordinary gin this is. I did a comparison video the other day between Beefeater 24 and the standard Beefeater, which I suppose in some ways is not really a fair comparison, because they are two different animals really, but they are born of the same essence. So I thought it was a good idea to do the video. Now, interestingly, this shares some qualities with the old gunpowder gin, because this one also uses tea, and to be specific, Chinese green tea, because good old Des Payne, or Big Des as I call him, who's the master distiller at Beefeater Distilleries, he went out to the Far East. I don't know why I say over there, it's just over there. He went out to the Far East and he sort of indulged himself in lots of different flavours and spices and stuff that they had going on out there. And he thought to himself, I can make some gin with this. And he bloody well did. He put the green tea and mixed it with all the citruses and sort of spices and things like orange peel and grapefruit and lemon and all the other stuff you get in a standard Beefeater. But basically sort of jazzed everything up a little bit. And my word, what a difference it made. So this one, again, as I say, big, strong, bold flavours. Get it in the glass. Oh my God, I'm running a bit low on this one. That's bad news. I should set a siren off or something. The Beefeater siren. Warning, Beefeater is running low. And again, all these big flavours lend themselves very, very well to being drunk neat. Let me have a quick blast on this one. Now this one, it's kind of got sort of sharp flavours in there. It's really, really nice. And again, with that water in there, it just releases them beautifully. It kind of sort of, it's got, well, for want of a better phrase, it's got balls, this one. It kind of goes to the back of the throat and sort of grabs on a little bit. It says, yeah, grabs you by the scruff of the neck and says, that's right, I'm coming down your gullet whether you like it or not. maybe not quite so aggressive as that, but you know what I mean. If you're going to drink something neat, you want a bit of something with a bit of punch anyway. And this just, and also what a beautiful bottle. Another one. In fact, all of these are pretty brilliant bottles I have on your shelf as well. Maybe they sort of know that the ones to be drunk neat needs to have a good bottle. Or maybe that's a load of old bollocks, as we say in England. So, my friends, that brings me to the last one. Now, don't pay too much attention to this actual gin. This is Hortus Old Tom Gin, which is available from, it's a supermarket brand from Lidl, which is available here in the UK. And I think Lidl is everywhere now, in fact, but I don't know if they sell the alcohol everywhere, certainly not in the United States. But the reason I brought this in is because I generally just mean any Old Tom gin. For some reason I don't have any more Old Tom here. I don't know why. I think I've moved it over to my girlfriend's. But Old Tom, I've done a whole video about Old Tom, and I've said before, I think my prediction is I think it's going to be the new London Dry. I think it's going to sweep the world. It hasn't happened yet. It's January 2020. I don't know, I looked at my watch then, it doesn't tell me the date. It's January 2020 at the moment, the making of the video. It doesn't seem to have come true yet. However, I love Old Tom. I have a real soft spot for it. It's basically a slightly sweeter, it's a more traditional version of the gin. This is what we used to have before we went from Geneva, which is the original spirit that gin was born of, and when it became the London Dry, as we now know. It was filled the gap between the two. And during the sort of gin craze of the 1700s, this was stuff that people drank historically. But check out my video, I'll put a link to it in the section below. Now, as I say, it is slightly sweeter than normal London Dry. So I think personally lends itself very, very well to being drunk neat. Let me have a quick blast on this. This, I love it. As you can probably tell by the way I'm being all over the top and elaborate, I love it. It's gin like you know it, but it's been given a kind of a, almost, I want to say a kind of a caramelly kind of twist in there. That's a little bit too much, the word caramel. I'll bring that back about 20%. You've got somewhere, you're somewhere kind of near what I'm trying to describe. It's kind of a little bit more viscous and a bit thicker. And that, I would say, out of all of the gins, and as I say, most Old Toms will be the same as this. There was a Hayman's Old Tom as well I reviewed. That's very, very nice. I know you've got all sorts of types of Old Tom all around the world, but my top tip for you today, if you're going to be drinking gin, great. If you want to do it with your London Dry and you enjoy it neat, have a go at these four, see what you think and let me know. But for a little bit of a wild card, if you really want to sort of just have something a little bit different and zizz things up, is zizz a word? I don't know, it is now. Give the Old Tom a go, any type of Old Tom. Try it neat, tiny, and do what I said. Try this little spot of water in there and see what you think, because I think you might be rather surprised. So guys, a slightly different video to usual today. I hope you found this useful. If you have, as always, please let me know in the comments in the section below. I always respond to everything, and it's always interesting to know what people are thinking, whether they disagree or whether they think I'm some sort of idiot, which is more often than you might think. However, if you have enjoyed it, as always, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the little like button. And once again, thank you very much to my sponsors of the video, who are ginandtonically.com. And thank you very much for John Ogren for becoming my patron. If you want to join John, then of course, have a look at my Patreon page and you could be a supporter as well. But until next time, guys, I've been Bobby Freeman. Take care, my friends. See you soon and stay safe.